Hey guys, it's Zack Attack here. And guess what? CosmicSkeptic made a video about his post about not being a vegan anymore. So yeah, we're just gonna take a look at this video.
Weeks have not been particularly easy for me, but of course this is something that I expected when I made my community post announcement about consuming animal products.
Yeah, I mean, he even knows how the vegan community is. He expected this.
I expected that there would be a great deal of sadness and disappointment and hatred and anger and all of these kinds of things. So I want to be able to get back to producing
Imagine being mad about what someone else eats.
regular content, and I've been working on a new project that is launching very soon. It's going to be the next thing you see on this channel, but I wanted to make sure that I at least spoke about this on camera before doing so. I don't know what kind of video this is. I don't know what I'm going to call it. I'm basically just trying not to sensationalize this. I recognize that this kind of video can cause a lot of drama.
But he was never a vegan in the first place.
Bring a lot of attention, a lot of negative attention to the vegan movement, to animal advocacy. That's really something I'm trying to avoid. You know, I've been thinking a lot about how best to approach this whilst doing the least harm to animals and the least harm to the vegan movement as a whole. I'm still not entirely sure what that looks like. Of course, ideally, you would have wanted me to just stay totally plant-based, but I'm hoping to explain some of the reasons why I didn't do that. But crucially, and I should say this from the outset, even though it should be obvious, look, I'm not some kind of nutritionist. I'm certainly not a nutritional expert. And so I'm in a bit of an awkward situation here in that, you know, I feel I want to explain some of the problems that I was facing in maintaining a healthy plant-based diet, but I want to clarify that shouldn't be informing your position on the viability of a plant-based diet for yourself. A lot of people have been sending me studies, in particular the American Dietetic Association study that being vegan is healthy at all stages of life, including...
Yeah, well, no, it's just, no. Bro, like, I don't know. He doesn't even want to be vegan. It's not that hard to explain. Right?
Pregnancy, as if this is new information to me. Yeah, as if this isn't something that I was already aware of and wasn't citing myself. Of course, the American Dietetic Association says that a well-planned vegan diet is healthful at all stages of life. The key point is well-planned there, and
Yeah,
my
facts. Well planned.
problem is not with the idea that every nutrient that's required to be healthy can be found in a plant-based diet. I think that it can. My problem is with the practicability of maintaining it for myself. So people have been asking, well, what's this magical nutrient that you can only get from an animal product that you can't get from plants? I want to clarify from the start, there isn't one. Every nutrient that you need to be healthy can be found in an adequately planned plant-based diet.
B12. Am I a joke to you?
I want to talk to you about some of the reasons why I found it very difficult to maintain a healthy plant-based diet. I also want to clarify that I really don't know what my diet's going to look like going forwards. I don't know if I'll continue to eat these foods or whether I'll be able to abandon them again in the future. I really don't know. So I'm not trying to do an ex-vegan, anti-vegan thing. I'm not trying to come out and say, veganism did this to me, I had a horrible experience, and this is why you shouldn't be vegan. Like, I still want to encourage people to be vegan. I still want to encourage people, of course, to care about animal suffering and to help bring about the end of factory farming.
I think it's kind of hard to do that when you're not actually vegan, though. I do agree with vegans on that. It's hard to actually talk about veganism when you're not actually vegan anymore.
Like, the fact of the matter is, I still think animal suffering matters greatly. I still want to see the end of factory farming as soon as possible. All that happened was
but you pay for animals to be killed. Like, bro, you can still eat meat and still like not think factory farming's a good thing. I mean, I don't think factory farming's a good thing, and I still eat meat.
Practice in my life, I found it difficult to maintain a healthy plant-based diet. That's it, really. I understand why that would annoy people or upset people, especially given that I'm somebody with a public platform, but that's what this breaks down to. Now, for most of my life, I've had a particular set of health issues, just like most people have some health issues, that I must stress are unrelated to veganism. They're not caused by veganism. I had them before I was vegan. It's nothing like that. But for instance, one of the most important or relevant here is IBS, or irritable bowel syndrome, which people have to varying degrees. I've suffered with it quite severely for most of my life. It's not been as bad as I've been getting older, but it essentially translates to having some severe stomach problems, as well as, I don't really know how to put it, but you need to make sure you have access to a toilet. For most of my childhood, one of the great miseries of my life was that I essentially wouldn't be able to go anywhere that didn't
I
have
don't
an
really see how this has anything to do with you not being vegan. I mean, when you literally said it, it doesn't. I don't know.
immediate toilet access, because otherwise I'd be absolutely stuck out. And the anxiety of just being there and knowing that that was the case would be enough to bring on the symptoms of IBS, and I'd just be
Yeah,
paralyzed by it.
I'm gonna
This was
skip ahead a little bit.
have a very restricted relationship to food in these instances.
Yeah, that's the
It
thing. Veganism is too restrictive.
meant essentially not eating, or eating very minimally and safely, whenever I was in one of these circumstances. So sometimes, we'd be out and people would be getting food, and people would notice that I'm not really eating anything, or not finishing a meal that was in front of me, or being really picky with my food. And a lot of the time I'd have to politely decline to eat various foods because I was just so worried that it was going to set off a reaction in my stomach. And one of the worst things about it is that it was quite unpredictable. I never knew when the stomach was going to flare up. So sometimes I'd be able to eat and be fine, but I didn't want to
Yeah,
run that
I'm
risk
gonna skip ahead a little bit. Skip a little bit more.
to live. But it was essentially a choice between that or just turning down all of these opportunities and not doing any of these things. I'm well aware of the fact that every nutrient we need to be healthy can be found on an adequately planned vegan diet.
I mean,
My
yeah, if you take supplements.
problem is with the practicability of this. You can imagine in a situation like the one I've just described how it can be difficult even to make sure you're getting the right amount of calories, let alone making sure that you're on top of your macro and your micronutrient balance. Now, it's important to stress that I don't have any health problems, at least to my knowledge, that are caused by veganism, right? Like the IBS thing, I'm not saying that veganism
Yeah,
causes
you just quit because you're based. It's not because of health issues. You're just based.
this. And of course, even if somebody's a non-vegan, living in this way is not the healthiest way to live. You're still going to run into problems if you're not eating for a whole day and only eat like a couple of meals or one meal in the evening when you get the opportunity. But because of the fact that it is easier to get the nutrients that are required to be healthy on a non-vegan diet, which
Facts. Well, he's actually speaking facts right now. Like you see that vegan teacher, she looks like a skeleton. Like,
say what you like about it being easy to live healthily as a vegan, which I believe in many cases it can be and is, it is easier to not be one. I found that in practice, despite obviously having a lot invested in this, I wasn't able to make it work. And so I ended up experiencing a lot of the typical symptoms that you hear in these kinds of videos. So these are the typical things that you hear about. I was experiencing fatigue, but at the same time as insomnia, I just wasn't sleeping properly. I was experiencing brain fog. I was unable to properly focus. I was feeling physically weak. But I was also experiencing other commonly reported symptoms. I was having, a lot of bloating and a lot of gas, like a lot of gas. I was experiencing joint pain. I was experiencing all kinds of things that I found it very difficult to know what was being caused by my diet. And crucially, as I say, this isn't something that's caused by veganism.
I still think he left the vegan community because vegans are toxic. Like literally, they're so toxic. Like he just. I mean, if I'm a vegan, I wouldn't want to leave. I wouldn't want to stay in this toxic community.
Not caused by a vegan diet. It would have been caused, if it was caused by my diet, by the way that I was doing this vegan diet. But also there's something that I don't want to mention it, but I want to mention it in this context, which is that there have been various things that have happened in my personal life that at points have led to something of a mental health crisis. I don't really know what to say here because I'm sorry, but I'm just not going to give you the details about that. I haven't given the details about that to my closest friends and family, so I'm certainly not going to talk about it on camera in detail, except for the fact that I've been experiencing something like it. And again, crucially, I'm not trying to say that this was caused by veganism, but look, there were days when I would be eating 0 calories and periods where daily I'd maybe be eating between like 0 and 7 100 calories. And it gets to a point where you think, look, I'm just going to have to get myself out of this hole somehow. And one of the most important first steps is physical health. But being essentially unable to eat, I found that if I could stomach anything, I wanted it to be nutritionally dense. I wanted it to be something that was
like meat.
going to give me the best chance of improving my physical health. So look, I'm really not trying to make this some kind of sob story. I mean, it's impossible to do that.
I mean, all the vegans think it probably is. I literally tuned into Vegan Gaze's live stream, and she was reacting to this video, and literally in the background, she had candles. Like, bro, like, you're such a hypocrite. Candles aren't even vegan. They're made from beeswax. You literally can't be talking. So yeah, I mean,
without giving you all of the details, it's really difficult to find a balance here between trying to talk about my experience whilst trying not to make it just sound like I'm making a bunch of excuses and trying to make you feel sorry for me.
Vegans, you probably are. I mean, that vegan teacher's gonna watch this. We all know she's gonna watch this.
I must say that I'm not going to be able to give you all of the details of certainly the mental health stuff that I was talking about. I know that people are upset and people are angry.
I know a few other vegans saw this video. I'm pretty sure Joey Carbstrong reacted to this, and a few other vegans also did as well.
The vitriol that I've received, I've seen people just obviously the constant DMing and the comments and people making memes and this kind of thing. And as I say, I understand that that's going to happen, but I'm just not going to let people start doing that about my personal medical history. I'm just not going to let people be memeing about that and making YouTube shorts about it. It's just not something that I'm willing to do. What I'm trying to do instead is get across the point that when I'm talking about the practicability of living a healthy plant-based diet, I'm not talking about the idea that a plant-based diet isn't or can't be healthy. What I'm trying to
be, you just have to do it right.
Get across is that even if in principle it can be healthy and it's perfectly possible to be healthy on a plant-based diet, for various practical reasons that might be something that's unattainable. And to not recognize that, I think is a mistake, and I think it's going to do harm. And on that point, I should talk about some of the reactions that I've received just from the statement that I put out. I mean, there have been some...
Yeah, this guy probably got sent death threats and stuff. I mean, that's just a vegan cult for you.
Responses that have been...
You're not allowed to leave.
Perfectly fine, disappointed or trying to understand or whatever. But, I mean, you don't need me to tell you that there's been a great deal of hatred and vitriol. You can see it for yourself. Of course, what you can't see is the things that people are messaging me. I want to see to tell you that there's been a great deal of hatred and vitriol. You can see it.
Yeah, you gotta go F yourself. Animal abusing the seed.
For yourself.
How dare you betray the animals, Alex? You don't get what you deserve.
Of course, what you can't see is the things that people...
Yeah, no, people... Like, this is literally the vegan cult. Like, it's literally a cult. Like, he's literally exposing veganism for a cult right now.
People are messaging me privately. Maybe I can show some examples on the screen. It's been relentless, and sometimes from quite established figures, blue tick vegan advocates sending me messages saying that I'm, quote, fucking retarded. As well as I saw that vegan teacher said
he's gonna talk about that vegan teacher.
If we were living in a time where it was still legal, she'd be calling for my public hanging. You'll forgive me.
Oh wait, she said no. Wait, when did she say that? When did she say that? No. When did she say that? I'm gonna try to find this comment.
If we were living in a time where it was still legal, she'd be calling for my public hanging. You'll forgive me if I'm not going to give you the details, certainly not of my mental health experiences, when I know that there are people out there who are just waiting...
No, she actually said that. There's no way she actually said that.
To essentially make content out of this. I've already seen people just making all kinds of videos and memes. I've been doing YouTube a long time. I built up a thick skin to this kind of thing. I can deal with mean comments, but I've had a lot of people reaching out to me to check that I'm okay. People seeing the responses and messaging me to be like, man, like, are you
Honestly,
doing
if
all
you're a
right? I mean,
vegan and
this
you actually ask if this guy's okay, then you are a good vegan.
looks horrendous, and a lot of it has been horrendous. But as I say, I can deal with it. The thing that I want people to be careful of here is like, how is this going to look to other people? Like, I still want to encourage people to try veganism. I still want to encourage people to join the movement against animal suffering, against factory farming. But imagine somebody's on the fence about becoming a vegan. You know, they're not really sure whether it's going to be for them or not. And then they see what's happened here. Right? They see somebody who says, look, this wasn't working for me for various reasons, and I need to let you know about that. And seeing this kind of response, seeing this kind of this hatred and unforgiving vitriol, what is that person going to think? They're going to think,
Facts.
I obviously don't want a part of
Bro, facts. Like I don't want to go vegan. I don't want to be associated with all these people who are saying you should kill yourself or whatever.
this, because is that going to be me
There's nothing wrong.
if I then end up changing my mind? I understand the anger, I understand the disappointment, but believe me, it's not a good look. And a lot of people have said, look, you know, it's so much worse because you've got this platform. But you know, if you're commenting this kind of stuff underneath that platform, all of these thousands of people are going to see your comments too. So of course there are still going to be people who think that this is inadequate. If that's because I
He's speaking absolute facts right now.
haven't really gone into any philosophy. I guess I've decided that it's best to separate out these two things, because I don't want it to seem like I'm trying to make some case against veganism, or that I'm trying to just rationalize the problems that I've been having. What I really wanted to do is just expand on my post and say, look, this is the experience that I've had. It's not that I think that you can't get all the nutrients you need from plant-based sources, as some people have assumed, and quite understandably, that I meant. That's not what I meant. I was talking about the practicability of maintaining such a diet, and that you shouldn't come to me for nutritional advice. I'm just telling you what's happened here, because it's obviously something that I have to address, but I'm not trying to offer you some kind of advice here. One thing that I said at the end of the statement that I put out was that I was sorry, especially to people who'd become vegan activists or advocates on my account, and a lot of people misunderstood that. I'm not sorry that I've turned people vegan. I'm not sorry that I've made people advocate for this cause. I'm just trying to say that I'm sorry to them for the disappointment that they might and do feel because of what I'm doing here. I'm not sorry that they've become vegan activists. So I do, of course, still want to see the end of factory farming, and I hope that vegans don't see me as their enemy.
I mean, they kind of already do. I mean, you know, that vegan teacher's probably going to react to this. Vegan Gains will probably react to this. Joey Carbstrong made a video on this. Like, nah, they are. Every vegan already hates you. So yeah, I think they see you as an enemy.
Front, like I'm hoping we can still work together in our advocacy here. But as I say, I understand the reactions that I've been receiving, and I find it difficult to predict how those reactions will evolve or change based on this video, but thank you for your time. Thank you for listening. I didn't really know how to begin the video. I don't really know how to end it. I can only say thanks for listening. Thanks for at least trying to understand. And yeah, hopefully now we can get back to producing regular, interesting content. But
anyway, I wanna leave it at that. But remember to leave a like and subscribe for more content.